Time for our look back at this day in history. October 26, 1776, Benjamin Franklin set sail for France, his goal to negotiate and secure a formal alliance and treaty between France and the brand new United States of America. In 1947, Hillary Rodham Clinton is born. The day she was born, her name was Hillary Diane Rodham. Mrs. Clinton is 69 today. And October 26, 2001, President George W. Bush signs the Patriot Act, an anti-terrorism law drawn up in response to the 9/11 attacks. The Patriot Act increased intelligence agencies' abilities to share information and lifted restrictions on communications surveillance. That aspect would later become controversial, but it was designed to prevent future terrorist attacks on American soil. I voted in favor of the Patriot Act during my time in Congress because it contained that vital look-back provision mandating that future Congresses would debate its renewal every year and make changes as they deem necessary. And as we noted, they have made a couple of changes. Now, you and I are engaged in our own look back right now, remembering the eventual consequences of that awful attack. The man responsible for 9/11, Osama bin Laden, would become the subject of one of the greatest manhunts in American history. It wasn't until almost a decade after the attacks that the Navy SEALs in May of 2011 killed Osama bin Laden. And that is the subject of today's American Moment.
In the early morning hours of May 2nd, 2011, the Central Intelligence Agency launched Operation Neptune Spear and set into motion a mission to bring one of the world's most notorious terrorists to justice. All indications were that Osama bin Laden was asleep as the U.S. Naval Special Warfare Development Group, known as SEAL Team 6, approached his highly secured three-story Pakistani-based compound. From entry to exit took approximately 45 minutes, with the bulk of time being used to gather up a plethora of al-Qaeda intelligence materials. When located in his living quarters on the third floor of his compound, the head of the Islamist group al-Qaeda was found using his young wife as a shield. The Obama administration reported the 54-year-old terrorist was given a traditional Islamic burial at sea. 9 years, 7 months, and 21 days following his infamous attack on New York's Twin Towers, killing thousands of innocent civilians, its mastermind, Osama bin Laden, was dead. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
From history to the here and now. Okay, over here.
There you go.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
I'll move over here because I've got my tag team partner. And we mentioned earlier that another figure in history who's celebrating her birthday today, she's celebrating by rhetorically trying to take another chunk out of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just kind of curious. When it comes to the women's vote,
right,
Miranda Khan, does she basically have that locked up? I know we're going to talk more about it in the prime preview, but where are we with this thing? Give us a sneak preview.
Oh, I will. I'd be happy to do that. You know, Clinton sent out Senator Elizabeth Warren on her campaign's behalf to kind of rekindle that spirit, if you will, that Warren and Trump have shared over the course of this campaign. And here's just a sampling of some of Warren's most recent attacks on Trump. She's even coined a few new nicknames for the GOP presidential nominee.
A selfish little sleazeball, a small, insecure money grubber. Nasty women vote in North Carolina. What do you say, nasty women? Are you ready? Are you ready to get these men out of our lives forever?
Well, but it appears many women don't want Trump out of their lives. They want him in office, and that may be in large part thanks to one woman in particular on the Trump campaign. We'll explain more tonight. How's that?
One woman in all the country.
No.
300 million. There is one woman who will make the key difference.
He has a lot of women
I'm
helping him.
Just trying to sell the story.
I'm sorry.
Preview.
Okay, but there is one woman in particular. Yes, I think that.
And you will reveal her identity tonight.
Not a moment sooner. That's the best I'm going to.
8 o'clock Eastern.
That's right.
On Newsmax Prime.
You got it.
mission accomplished with quite the prime preview. Thanks, Miranda Kahn.
Thank you, Captain.
You're quite welcome. I'll go into my Bill Shatner mode now.
That's Miranda. Good. That's really good.
But actually, I better get serious about this because it's a serious subject matter. Before we part company, we were pleased to be visited last night on Newsmax Prime by General Michael Hayden, and he appeared along with my former congressional colleague, who in turn was the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Pete Hoekstra. We talked about the latest WikiLeaks revelation that President Obama knew about Hillary Clinton's private email use before the American public. In fact, he sent her emails. Here's the way a portion of that conversation went last night. It's our playback this morning.
Well, as I pointed out, JD, I very much oppose what WikiLeaks has done and what the Russians have certainly done or are trying to do, but that's separate, a severable issue from the content of the emails, which raises very serious questions. And JD, we've had a bit of this conversation before. I would lose respect for a whole bunch of intelligence services around the world if they hadn't penetrated that server that Secretary Clinton was using. And Congressman Hoekstra just suggested how powerful some of these cyber services are globally.
Well, let me turn to Pete then, because as I'm sitting here looking at this, and we also know that President Obama communicated with Hillary using a pseudonym. Now, I don't know that what's required by these intelligence agencies, Pete, but as we just heard from Mike, if these intelligence agencies are diligent and resourceful enough to get into Hillary's private email account, is there a back door for them directly to get into the emails of the President of the United States? Is that what we're looking at, Pete? About a minute.
Okay, I mean, Mike actually probably has a better idea on exactly the technical capabilities, but if the president was using a network that went beyond a government-approved network, typically the further you move away from what our intelligence community and what our capabilities are in government, my guess is foreign intelligence services see opportunity each and every day, because we're moving from one secure system. And the further we get away from that secure system, I think the more vulnerable we become.
Let me turn to Mike then in the remaining 15 seconds. What about it, General? Any likelihood the president could have been hacked into?
Look, very, very straightforward, JD. What you just described means that those emails were transiting the internet, not a government intranet. And if it's transiting the internet for intelligence services, JD, game on.
So what we are hearing right there, and again, you're not going to get this from the alphabet networks or their cable cousins, but you heard it right there from the general who used to be the chairman of the National Security Agency and the Central Intelligence Agency, and also my old Capitol Hill colleague, Pete Hoekstra, who chaired the Intelligence Committee. President Obama was using a pseudonym. Going to the internet, that becomes the question. When he had Hillary's private email server, which was not part of a secure government network, was our president out on the internet at large? If he was, and his email addresses there for foreign intelligence entities, well, the concern is that not only Hillary Clinton, but our own commander-in-chief could have had his whole security situation compromised. Certainly what they were talking about in those emails is part of that. And if this had been a Republican president, this would be the lead story. But as it is now with the conspiracy, or at least the political leanings of the dominant media culture, the corporate media, they don't want to talk about it. Here's what we're going to talk about tonight on Newsmax Prime. Our guests include pollster John Zogby, Amy Kramer of the Women Vote Trump PAC, I'll get it out. Also Sam Nunberg, attorney and political advisor, and a guy I've known since he's been in high school. Now a businessman and business writer, Brad Thomas, who's written a book about Donald Trump. That is tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll be looking for you then. For now, thanks so much for watching. Stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.